All right. Now, we are going to be doing this together, and in case I leave you or I'm going too fast, you can easily send me a message. In case where you're having a problem with the coding, it's better you take a shot of your screen and send to the WeChat group where we can follow up the messages easily. There are people who can help you there, Thaddeus and Paul, and even other guys who already have more experience in programming with Android. So at this moment, yesterday we had our task 1, and this is the content for task 1. We had to design this layout. Okay, this one is taking slow to open. I'll open it in Android Studio instead. Okay, this was our task for yesterday, to design this layout in XML, meaning that yesterday we didn't have to do anything related to Java actually for this task. We all had to do the work in the XML file. That's why we say that you don't have to send any other files apart from the XML file. Really, a few students sent the finished work, and maybe because you found it difficult, I don't know why. I know you could have found it difficult, that's understandable, but as well, you could have asked some questions in the group so that we could help you. But that didn't happen. I hope in case you have any problem, you find any problem in the development process, you can easily contact any of us in the group, or you can send your questions to the group so that you can be helped out. You know, you should enjoy this because we are learning something we're interested in. Now, at this moment, I suggest to work together. At this moment, I suggest to, if you have your computer by your side, you can open Android Studio like me, and then you can go ahead to create a new project. I'll start by creating a new project. Of course, Thaddeus already explained this one very well. I won't go into those details. However, please, if you're working with me and you think I'm going too fast, you can easily remind me in the group, or you can send a message in the chat box. I'm viewing all of them. I am viewing all of them. Okay, so we shall create a new project, and we are going to put an empty activity. Click next. I'm going to name this application layout. I'm going to name this layout code lab, and I also choose where I want it to be set. This is the directory to be saved. I'll save that, and I'll choose a legacy. I'll choose the legacy library so that my app can run on a number of all the devices. After that, I'll click finish. Another thing is, my machine is a bit slow with Android Studio, meaning that that's an advantage to you. I won't be rushing too fast, so I'll always be waiting for you as the builds are taking place. Please, if you've not yet created your project already, you can go ahead to create one, and you can be doing this together. Okay, I'll close that one. I'll close that one. Someone ask a question? Okay. You can see my screen, right? What's the problem? Can you see my screen? It seems like my screen is not visible anymore. Is it visible? Please. Hey guys, can you see my Android Studio? Because if I say, can you see my screen, can you see my Android Studio? It's visible, right? Okay. You can see this set content view. Can you? Someone say yes inside there. Cool. Thanks very much. Okay, so now this is this. However, I would like to close this because we're not gonna do anything here today. I'll close that one right away. Now for reference, this is the document coding challenge 1.zip that you can download from the GitHub link that was sent yesterday by Paul. And those are the contents inside there. We have the challenge, we have the result, and we also have a video of how it would feel and look like at the end of your design. We also have the scribble text that's going to be inside there in one of the text views. And also the step layout design. It's an image that looks to be overlaid on top of other layouts. And we also have this image. This is an image of the USTC library as seen from one side of the lake. Now, what I will do is, for proper reference in the development process, I'll simply get this image and I'll move it in here. So that's visible here. And I'll also go ahead to split my editor vertically so that I have these two screens here. And I'll choose this one such that one side I can see the screen, I can see the phone, the layout design, and one side I can have the editor, the code editor. I also extend this one this size so that I create some more screen estate. Maybe just scroll it like this. We have this here. So now, okay, let me put this on the new line. Now, I understand that on the beginning, you all guys set up a Android virtual device. Please test that your AVD works fine, such that in your coding process, you can be able to view what you're doing. I've started mine right away, and it will take some time to finish up its building process, the Gradle build. You can be running yours as well. As you can also be taking some coffee actually. Sometimes it really takes long. Um, yeah, that's taking really long. Okay, so it has finally decided to come out. Okay. Did anyone have a problem with setting up the AVD? I hope no. If you had no problem with setting up the AVD, if you have one of your AVDs selected here and you click run, depending on how fast your computer is, in a very short time, you would have this kind of virtual device out. I hope you can see my virtual device. Please, if you can see my virtual device, acknowledge that in the chat box. Sometimes you can be here explaining, hoping that things are okay, yet they're not actually okay. You can see the virtual device, right? I'm moving it. Can you? Anyone? No, you cannot. Okay. You mean you cannot see my virtual device? A oh, okay. What could be the problem? But you can see my screen, right? The Android Studio. Can you? Hmm. Why is that so? Anyone knows why that's so? It's only one Android Studio. The Android Studio is visible, but the virtual device is not visible because it's visible on my certificate of participation in the workshop. By participation, it means that you participated in doing some of the work and also you learned something from the workshop. So we really hope that you can do something. For example, at the end of the session, you can send some, you can send your finished work as required from the programming tasks. What I will do, I'll put this one away such that I can be able to view my my reference here. When you look at this reference, you see that we have an image here, the USTC image. We also have a star badge here, and we also have this content here. So now, straightforward, what I'll do is to begin by putting these contents into my Android project. How do I do that? I'll click project here and open the resources in here. I can go ahead to right click. I don't know whether that's one right click or left click. And then I click show in Explorer, right? Open the Explorer, which is also taking. Is my Explorer visible? I'm afraid it might not be visible. Please send it to if it's visible. My Explorer. Oh yeah, that's great. Now, inside here, I'll open the res and I have all these contents as seen from here, a little bit more. Thaddeus explained this. I won't go into the detail of that. Now, what I'll do, I'll also go ahead to open my other folder, which has this content, which I want to put in inside here. For the images, I'll put them in the drawable folder, this one, which is non-drawable version 24, but just drawable. If you're working together, go ahead to open the drawable folder and copy this and this and this, copy them and paste them over here to the drawable folder because we shall be using them. And it's the test we are going to be using in this code layout project. So what we will do, we shall also need this test. So I'll copy it and then I can close this. Where to put this text? Thaddeus taught this, and I know you still recall that inside the res, which means resources, we have another folder called values, and under the values we have a number of XML resource files. And now in the strings resource file, we shall open that. It's where we find our string resources, and we shall add one more string resource, and we are going to name it so add one string resource, and we are going to name it, we are going to give it a name, notice. We're going to give it a name, notice, and then we shall paste the content here. Now, when you paste the content in here, you see this one is becoming red, right? Because there is character here and it's not what? It's not recognized. So we need to escape it. How do you escape it? By a slash, this kind of slash. It's backward, right? Slash, right? And then that red is gone. Please, if you're working together, do that so that we go together. Now you realize that also inside here, in this reference, this HI, which means high, it is italic, it's italic style, and the heading here is bold. And also down here, we have this heading bold and also have space at the beginning of the line. Now, how do we do that? First of all, to ensure that we have a new line, after this, we shall go ahead to put a new line character, which is /n to mean new line character. And also to make sure that this one is italic, we can put this tag, we can enclose it in this italic tag. So this one will come out italic because we have enclosed it in this tag. And also to ensure that this one is bold, this title, welcome to the workshop, the Android workshop, we shall put it into the bold, we shall enclose it within the bold tag. Great. And also we shall go ahead to look for this. This one was also bold, put it inside the bold tag. Put inside the bold tag. Now these other lines here, if we want to ensure that this one starts on a new line, we have to put a new line character at the end of each of these, such that they appear on their separate lines. Same time, I can copy this and go ahead to paste it everywhere here. Even here. If I'm going too fast, you can let me know and I slow down a little such that we are on the same page. Another thing is we have to create some spaces at the beginning here. How shall we create those spaces? We can escape this one by a tab. I'll put 3 of them to ensure that we have some space at the beginning. Have some space at the beginning. Even here. Here I'll put 2 of them. So we have this sorted out. Okay, this one is red. Why? It's like here. What's that problem? Element be not closed. Just closed, please. Okay, it's unclosed. Okay. So this is done. Now we're not going to spend a lot of time here. We shall go right into coming up with this UI. How are we going to develop this UI? When you look at this UI, you realize that most of the things are aligned on top of each other. Oh, no. What I mean is we have one after another, meaning that like they look like as if they are cascaded and on in line, in line with each other. So in case of this, when a number of students who sent their finished files, they had used the relative layout, which was really good. I found that one very interesting because I thought I thought a relative layout would be a little bit disturbing to come up with this, but a number of students used the relative layout to design this UI. I think that was really interesting. It means that you really learned a lot from third year's session. Now, however, one of the easiest ways to come up with such a layout, which looks very linear, is to use a linear layout. And for that reason, I am going to use a linear layout to come up with this. Now, realize that we have this badge here and it looks like as if it is overlaid on top of other layouts. We are going to first leave out this one and we shall come back to it later. Now, I'm not going to be performing builds in between. I'm not going to be running on my virtual device in between so that we can save time. What I'm going to do is to develop the whole of it at once, and then I'll build once so as we can see the result. If there are any changes that we need to make, we shall make those ones real quick and get this one also done. Now, to begin with, we're not going to use a constraint layout and we're not going to use the design mode. So what I'm going to do is to come here and I'll replace this one with a linear layout. After that, we shall not need this namespace. You can delete that. And also these other 4 namespaces, we shall get rid of them. We shall have this clean item. So to start with, we have an image view over here. Thaddeus again went over this. So I hope and I understand how this one really work. You realize that this image extends from one end of the screen to another end of the screen. So we shall make the layout with this to match parent so that it can extend from one end to the other end. And also the height. Now in my design, I made this one to have a height of 150 dps in density independent pixels. So I'll give that one a height of 150 dps. And also these images have what we call a scale type. A scale type. A scale type, to see what a scale type really does, I'll first leave out this attribute, and after running, we see how the image will be looking without this attribute, and then after we shall put it there to see the change in the effect. Another thing is we have this other belt here in between. Now this one is also a linear layout, which is vertical, and inside it we have another two linear layouts. We can I'm gonna be using linear layouts because I think they are very easy and they can help you to get your layout up and running in a very short period of time, even if you are just starting out. So what I'm gonna do is create another linear layout here only for this belt, and I'll say linear layout. I'll give it a width of match parent, and I'll give it a height of let's see how much. Okay, I won't give it a height. I'll say wrap content, and I'll close that. Now inside here, you realize that we have this title here which says Android Workshop, and that's none other than a text view. It's a text view saying that we can say let it match parent and also height wrap its content. Close that. We come here and specify its text, and the text is none other than Android Workshop. In case you have any question, you can easily ask me in the chat box or in our WeChat. So you have that Android Workshop over there. And also realize that this belt has a color which I specified here as this. So we can first do that one real quick by coming here and saying that background. Okay, the number of colors inside there, we have color accent, but don't need that. What we'll do, we shall open the color resources inside here and now add a new color. Let us copy this and paste it down here, and now change the name to let's say, let's name this one header belt. And then I want to change the color. What I'll do to change the color, I will come here and click this. After clicking that, oh no need to click because I already have the value, so I can just change the value here. It is A9 7. All right, so we have that color over there. So I'll simply come here and say header belt. So we have this linear layout having that header belt, and then we'll go ahead to add these other two layouts, these other two texts. How do we add them? We shall create another linear layout, put another linear layout, and say let it for its width, we want it to wrap content, and its height, want it to let us make it wrap content as well. And now another thing I don't talked about is we have to specify orientation usually with linear layouts so that they don't become ambiguous. They can either be horizontal or vertical. For this outer one, you want to make it vertical. Now for this inner one, by default it is horizontal, but to avoid ambiguity, we can make it, we can write it inside there so that we are sure that that is horizontal. Next, horizontal, we want it to make its width to match parent. I have a height wrap content. Now inside here we have two text views, as you can see. I'll put those ones right there in real quick, and I want them there width match to no. If the width matches parent, then we have no space for the other one. So let us make it wrap content and height wrap content as well. And the text will be we have venue, and then we have those colon, and then after that we have another text the other side. You can also put that one here because this one is horizontal orientation. These ones will appear in the same line. So we shall say this one, let it wrap content, close this, and also come here and say the text is meeting, line meeting, Tencent, line meeting Tencent. So you have that one ready. Now you realize that these ones have space in between them. Okay, we shall iron out those ones later. I think we are going to build twice. One build is to have this one roughly laid out, and then the other build will help us to go out to iron out those mistakes to make it look like this one. Now this one is really the same as the next line of text the same as this one, so we shall simply copy this and paste it down here, and then go ahead to change this one to date and time. Date and time, and then here we have this that says October 1st, October 1st to 8th, 9 a.m. to 11 9 a.m. to 11:30. Okay, 11:30 a.m. So I just up to a.m. So we have these. So we would assume that now this one is done. So we are going to go to this scrollable text. Again, this is very interesting. Okay, we don't need this. This was by default available. Again, this is very interesting because Thaddeus has done all of this work. So we are only simply doing these tasks to review what we already learned. Now, to have this text scrollable, first of all, we shall enclose it. We can begin by creating the text view, which will house that text. Its width will match parent, content, wrap content, height, wrap content, and then its text. We shall give it a text of string notice. Now, to make it scrollable, we shall house it inside a scroll view, as you learned that yesterday. Its width, we shall make it match parent and height, wrap content. Then close that. Now we simply get this and paste it over here. So you have this done. Again, down here we have two buttons which appear to be in a linear layout as well. You can also achieve them using another layout, let's say relative layout. But again, I find the linear layout very easy for someone who is beginning, and they can have that very early without having to go through the hassles of minding about where to put things here and there. So we shall go ahead to create a linear layout, another one, and say width match parent, and say height wrap content, and also give it an orientation of horizontal, which is by default horizontal, but to avoid ambiguity, we can get it write that one as well. And then close this one. Inside here, we want to have two buttons. So we shall have a button which is by width wrap content, height also wrap content, and give it a text of join workshop. Give it a join workshop, and then also have another button. Let us close this. We shall simply copy this, paste it down here. Have another button, and this time it is invite friend. This is invite friend. So have this done. It appears to be done. Let us first leave out this image and let us first run this one real quick. Orientation. Okay, let us specify orientation here as well. Let's remove that warning. It's not vertical. It's not supposed to be vertical because it is the parent. Let us run this one on the virtual device real quick to see the output. Can you see my virtual device? Please type a 2 if you can see it there. First time it wasn't using. Can you see the virtual device? Okay, good. Let that one build real quick. Build. Now, as it's building, we can go ahead to do one other thing that I think is very important. That is, realize that these are hard-coded strings, right? And then if you try to, okay, this one has also been able to finish. Now we created an image here. Now, as you can see here, it looks not too bad, but realize that we are disappointed. We don't have our image here. And the reason for that is simply because after creating this image view, we didn't define the source. So we can go ahead here to define the source of the image. And that image is this one over here. And also realize that this content is so leaning on the screen. How to do that? We can specify padding or margin. Actually, I prefer padding. Sometimes they do the similar effect, but depending on where you're using them, they might not give you the same result. I'll give it a padding of 8 DPs such that it doesn't appear so very lean to the walls. I also realize in our diagram here we have the space in between here. How to create that space for these ones here, view online. How to create that space? We shall come here. We have these two linear layouts which are having this content. What we shall do is to specify weight. We shall say that now this one have a width of 0 dp. By giving it a width of 0 dp, we are go ahead to specify its weight, layout weight, and we shall give it a layout weight of 1. Now, what this one means is that after this other layout has taken space, this text view, after this other text view has taken space, all the other space that remains will be assigned to this other guy over here. So we shall copy these contents over here and paste them to this other text view as well, such that we can have that space in between. And also realize in our diagram here, we have this text a little bit bold and also very big. How to achieve that? We can go here and specify the text appearance. We can go here to specify the text appearance and say, let it have text appearance of what? Header? Headline. Text appearance to that compact or headline. If one want to be bad, we could make it appear big and bold. And also you realize that in our output here, we have these buttons leaning this side, but in this other image, we have our buttons on the far right. So how to achieve that? We shall come here on this linear layout and specify the gravity of the contents. I think that can help us to achieve that. And then say, let them be on the right, or maybe you can say end. This one will help us to achieve that, I think. Let's first run this one real quick to see how that one comes out. Now, I was saying that it is very bad to add code in the strings in here. So what we usually do would put them in the string resource. Okay. As I was still explaining, this one's also done. Now, as you can look here, we have this content over here. It's not scrollable. We have this content over here, and the buttons are enclosed inside there. The buttons are, and also the image is not stretching well proper. Let us first solve the image problem. Solve the image problem. We can come here and specify the scale type as center crop. There are a number of scale types. However, center crop will help us to center and crop the image. Center and crop that image. Center and crop that image properly. And then now the buttons are not really visible inside here. So what we can do is let us ensure that this is horizontal. The buttons are not really visible. What we can do is to come and say do something with this scroll view. We shall not give it a height. We shall give it a height of 0, because we see that we need this content view to have enough space because it has a lot of text. So we shall give it a height of 0 dp. And then later on, we can specify its weight in this entire layout to have a weight of 1. When we run that, let's see how that one looks like. Okay. Let us first remove this string from here. Okay, now this one has worked really well. We can have this one now scrolling properly, and also we have these buttons over here. Now, one thing left, you realize that we have some space in between here, right? And also these guys underlined. Now we're gonna do that one, and we shall end this session, and I'll call on Thaddeus to continue with today's content. Now, to put this underline here, first of all, we shall remove this string from here. The string, we shall remove it from here. When you click on this bulb over here, it will allow us an option of extracting this string resource, and then it will send it to the string file. So we shall send it there, and also this one, the same thing, we send it there. And after sending it there, we shall come. They have been put for us here, which is very good. Now we want them underlined, right? So we shall simply use the underline tag to make them underlined tag. Make them underlined. Okay, so you have that. And also, in order to create some space, like as it is here, space up and down for this header here, we can give it a padding or a margin, but I prefer padding for this case. I'll say padding over here. I'll give it a padding of 8 density independent pixels. I'll run this one once again to see how it comes out. Okay, they underlined properly. Now, one thing is this tab badge over here. I'd forgotten about that, but let's put that one real quick. Now, yesterday or the other day, when I think it was yesterday when Thaddeus was talking about a frame layout as it's used to break out a certain part of the screen. Now, I also found another use for a frame layout. We can use it to stack views on top of each other. Now, we're going to use a frame layout to stack this other star badge on top of this layout. How are we going to do that? Now, we know right now we're having this linear layout as the parent view group. Now we're going to use a frame layout instead to become the parent. And how we do that? We shall do this, create it here, and also copy these namespaces over here. Let us copy these namespaces and paste them inside here. And then after that, we copy this closing tag and paste it at the end, such that now this linear layout is a child of the frame layout. Now we shall go ahead to do one other thing, remove these ones that are no longer doing any work here. Now, instead of making this linear layout inside to match parent, we shall say let it wrap its content, such that I don't fill the whole screen. Now at the bottom here, now with the frame layout, the way we can stack views together is a view that comes first is at the bottom and the view that comes next is at the top. So we want our image here to be at the top of these other views. So we shall put it right down here. We shall create another image view. Instead of writing that, we can simply copy this and paste it down here. Now that image is really small. It's about 50 density independent pixels. So I'll write that one over here. Remove this one. And now the drawable this time around is, what's the drawable? It's tab badge. Now when we run this, the drawable will appear in one corner here. We don't want to be there in that corner. What we shall do is we shall go ahead to say that we shall go ahead to give it a gravity first of all, and say layout gravity, let it appear on the left. I think that's right. But to avoid that ambiguity, we can simply say let it be at the end, at the far end. Now, by putting it at the far end, it will appear on this other corner. Now, we want it to appear just in between here, right? However, realize that the first image, this image here is 150, right? So meaning that from the top here down here, it's 150 density independent pixels. Now, if we want it to appear in between of these two, what we shall do, we shall say 150 plus half of this size. Half of this size is 25. So 150 plus half of this size, that equals to how much? 175, right? So we shall give it a margin equal to that. We shall say margin from the top is 175 independent pixels. Run this one. Oh, I think that's one. I was going too far. 150, maybe add how much? Okay, we didn't actually don't have to make it. It should be a half of this, right? It's supposed to be 125 and 175. Such that it doesn't go beyond, right? It doesn't go beyond that layout. Half of it is in that image view, half of it is in the other end. Okay. It appears right in there. Now, I think this one looks very bad because you have that line at the top. We can remove it by saying that padding, it has specify only padding for the left and the right. Padding for the left and also padding on the right. Padding. Let us remove that item. And also let us specify padding for this image. A little padding for it. 8, let's say 4 density independent pixels. Run this one once again. Okay, we have this one, which is very near to this. Okay, this one also doesn't have, we don't have padding this side, right? Okay, to remove these other lines here, you can all you need to do is to remove this padding here and then specify padding for the video layouts here. I won't go over that. I hope you've gotten the idea of coming up with this layout. In case you have any question, you can send the group or the chat box. At this moment, I would like to end this session here and then invite audience to continue with today's content. Thanks very much.